Take square root of both sides, right? Take square root of both sides. This is 9.2, right? 9.2. Okay. So what should I put on the right hand side? Yeah, plus minus. Don't forget plus and minus. Right? Some people forgot plus and minus on the exam. Okay, on the left hand side, so square root and square cancel, so just y minus 7. On the right hand side, can you, maybe I'll write the plus minus in black as well, because I need to use the blue. Can you simplify the square root of 12? Which is, good. At this point, I assume that you are kind of like pro at this thing, like simplifying square roots, simple square root, right? So that's equal plus and minus 2 square root of 3. And then you want to solve for y. Some people on the exam, they just leave it like that. Did I take the point off? I don't remember. I think I didn't. No, I think I only do, if I do, I only do it once. The 3 problem. I don't want to like triple deck you. I will do it once. But yeah, you gotta solve for y, right? Don't leave it like that. So solve for y, add 7 both sides. I think this one on your exam, was it? Sort of. Y equal 7. No, your exam was 7 plus minus 5 something, root something. 2 root 3. If you want to write your answer separately, like 7 plus 2 root 3, 7 minus 2 root 3, that's fine. But I'm okay with you combine them into one like that. Oh, let me hide you. I don't want you to be on the YouTube. I apologize. I thought it's just like recording my iPad, which is, just the share screen, but it did record. It records from the computer, so I'll take my computer out and I can see you guys on Zoom. Okay, you guys try number 2. That's from 9.1. Why don't you try number 2 for me? Mute. Lecture. Let's see, I can see people here. All right, Alex, can you turn on your cam?
Oh wait, do I have my camera
on? It's all black. Maybe
All right, wait.
have some. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you want to remove whatever you cover it up. I do that too sometimes.
For some reason, I can.
No,
I can like see like my camera on for me. That's weird.
I do that. I cover my camera up even though it's not on. It's just I'm being paranoid, which I understand. Okay, what you guys have? Thank you, Taylor. So what do you do first? You factor the thing right here, right? You factor it. So so x minus 5 times x minus 5, and then that means x minus 5 square, and then bring the 18 down. And at this point, you take square root both sides. So square root of 18 is, maybe I'll do it slowly here. So be plus minus square root of 9 times 2, which is plus minus square root of 9 is 3. square root of 2 and the square root of 2. Oop, I don't want to box it. So that is x plus 5, x minus 5, sorry, equal plus minus 3 root 2 f5. So x equal 5 plus minus 3 root 2. Some okay, all right. Is that what you people from Zoom? Is that what you guys have? Okay, so now we're gonna go to complete the square. What does that mean to be complete the square? Well, like the name suggests, right? You're gonna try to figure it out the way to make it into a perfect square, right? So first, I need to introduce you the binomial square pattern. Have you guys learned this? I remember I learned this in middle school. I don't remember, but so this a plus b parentheses square, again, it is not equal to what? This I see a lot. I don't know why, but even if I tell people, they still make the same mistake. It is not equal to a squared plus b squared. Because if you FOIL it out, you're gonna get this, right? You're gonna get a trinomial. You're gonna have 3 terms, not 2 terms. People just distribute the 2. The only time you distribute the 2 is when what? When a, what's between a and b? Yeah, no. When is, even down here is not equal to a squared minus b squared. Yeah, when they multiply or divide, right? You allow to distribute the power, but when adding or subtracting, those terms are, yeah, it's not. We don't have those rules. You have to FOIL it out. Now, the other way of FOILing out is we have this. A plus b parentheses square is, it's going to be a squared. So the first term square plus 2 times a times b. So the second term will be a times b, and then you double it. And then the last one will be b squared. Right? So for me to remember this, this is how I remember. It's not the correct way of explaining things, but this is how I remember. I square the a, I square the b, and then I double a times b. Does that make sense? That's how I remember. It's not right when I do the little black arrow. And same thing with a minus b parentheses square, right? You can either FOIL it or you can use the binomial square pattern. I use this a lot when I, especially if people who go for engineering or math degree, I suggest you remember this. It's just easier. First term squared, last term square. And by the way, the first term and last term always positive. You see this positive, it's positive, 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 right? The only thing changed is the middle term is carry the signs of whatever the original signs gave you. If it put positive, then this is positive. If it's negative, then this is negative. What happened? Why is all dark? Too little people here. We need more students here. It's just the light just went off. All right, makes sense. Okay, so please do not make this mistake again on your next exam. All right, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see a plus b parentheses square and then you distribute it to a square plus b square or a square minus b square. All right. Okay, remark. So that was the remark. Let me take a look at my note. I want to say something. Well, that was I want to say. A plus b square, it is not equal to a square plus b square, or even is a minus. Right? How's a square minus b square? You know what it is. What is this? Don't write this down. Well, a minus b times a plus b, right? Where a minus b, all of that square is a minus b times a minus b, right? Times a minus b. So those two things are different. Okay, so for example, how would you complete the square of this one? How would you fill in that gap? I'll show you how. Okay, so let me go back to the formula this formula right here, right? So I have the first term square, which I do, and then the second term will be 2 times a times b, right? So here will be 2 times a times b. Well, 2 is 2. Well, we have a 2 here. Your a will be what? Your a is the x, right? What is your b? Can you tell me what's your b here? Well, this is 1, right? It's because 2x is 2x. You cannot change 2x. So it must be 1. So b must be 1. So that's your b. And then the last term is say what? B square, right? The second term square. So 1 square is 1. So 1 square, which is 1. So you rewrite this as x squared plus 2x plus 1. Can you factor that? Which is x plus 1 times x plus 1, right? Which is x plus 1 squared. That's why it's called completing the square, right? You turn it into a perfect square. No, doesn't have to be. No. Oh, this one is special. I just try to teach you how to recognize a pattern, which is for later solving. You're not gonna, maybe you see this on the exam. Yeah, maybe. All right, for second term. So for second problem, I have x squared. So what does that mean? That means what? A should be what? This imply A is, well, this imply A is x, right? So this imply A is also x. And I have, and here I need what? 2 times A times B. Well, A is, so 6, I can factor into what? Let me rewrite this one more time. I'm gonna rewrite this. Maybe I'll remove this first. I'm gonna rewrite this thing as x squared minus 2 times 3 times x plus blank. Okay, so so this one should be 2 times a times b, right? 2 times a times b. This is 2. A is, we agree that A is x. So B must be 3, right? B must be 3. So 3 here, and then you're supposed to square it, which is 9. So I have x squared minus 6x plus 9. Can someone factor this for me? Someone from Zoom. Mike, you want to try it?
Yeah, I'll get there in a second.
Sorry.
Negative 3 times negative 3.
Yeah, good. So x minus 3, x minus 3. Which is x minus 3 squared. So you guys see the pattern, right? You see the pattern? I'll show you a different way too. This is one way. Then there's another way that where you don't have to, whether you don't have to dissect the middle term. There's a little trick. Here is a trick. To complete the square of x squared plus bx, identify the b, which is the coefficient of x, right? Find, and then you take that number, you times it by half, and then you square it, and then that number will be your second term, right? Your last term right there, right? And then add that to x squared plus bx. That's your last term, right? And then factor into a perfect square trinomial like we did earlier. I'll show you step by step by example. It's kind of difficult just to go into the theory. Okay, so according to the step, identify b. So what's b? What is b in this problem? B is negative 16, right? And then you times what? You times it 1/2, right? It's say times 1/2, and then you square it. So 1/2 times b So times 1/2, which is negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. And then it asks you to square it, which is 64, right? And then you add that to x squared plus bx. That's step 3 right there. And then I'm going to add 64 to here. That's what I did. That's it. That's it. You always take the middle coefficient, you split it in half, square it, and then you add it to the last term. Yeah, I would recommend this one so that you don't always have to dissect it. Right? Well, this one is come from this one really, right? Instead of split it into 2 times something, you divide it by half and then you square, right? It's the same thing. Really, it's the same thing. So this one I can rewrite it as x squared. I'm sorry, n squared minus 16n plus 64. Can someone factor this for me? N minus 8, n minus 8. I'll tell you what, even if you don't know how to factor, there's a little trick that you can use. Where do you see this negative 8? And this is also negative 8. So if you don't know how to factor, use that little blue 8, negative 8. So maybe I'll use blue here. Right here, negative 8, negative 8. Why do I tell you this? Because when you, if integer, then it's okay. Maybe you can crank your brain out and factor it. But what if I give you fraction, right? It's hard to factor fraction. So if you don't know how to factor, use this one, the one that you, before you square it for the factoring. That's a little very useful trick. So so this one is n minus 8, all of that square. You gotta try number 2. People from Zoom, if you have the answer, put your answer in the chat. Yeah. So 3 over 4 times a half. For me, instead of saying divided by 2, I say times 1/2. It means the same thing, right? It just, people relate with multiplication better with division, especially when it involves in fraction. So 3/4 times 1/2 is what? 3/8, and then square it. The pattern is really the same, nothing different, which is 9 over 64. Just make sure you don't mess up these little steps. A lot of people will be like, okay, 9 over 8 times 2 is 16, which is wrong, right? I know, it's just make a little mistake, but for math, one little mistake go a long way. So 9 over 4, that's your last term. 64, my bad, 64. Let me rewrite this neatly. 9 divided by 64. And then when you factor this, it's gonna be x plus 3/8 times x plus 3/8, which is x plus 3/8 square. So you guys get the pattern, right? Pretty straightforward. Okay, now so those are so these 1, 2, 3 here, these I'm just teach you how to compute the square. You probably see 1 or 2 problems like this on the exam, right? But the second part will be solving quadratic equation. Now is equation. You're gonna have a left-hand side and a right-hand side, right? And here you only have one side, right, which is called the expression. Now we come to equation. Okay, so how do I solve for this? if you try to factor this, is it factorable? I think it's factorable, right? Is it factorable? I think it is. Yeah, I think it is, right? So let's factor this first. Now, if on the exam, if I give you something like this, and I didn't specify what method I'm asking you to do, you can use any method you want. Some people factor if they can factor. Some people use the quadratic formula, just I haven't teach you yet, but you know, remember it from the high school. It's okay if you want to use it. So let me factor this. If I was you, I'm going to try to factor it first because completing the square is kind of long. So factor this. Someone factor this for me. No, it says X and there's X. And then two numbers multiply is 11, add to 12. Yeah, 1 and 11 plus plus. So, so that either you have X plus 1 equals 0 or X plus 11 equals 0, X equal -1, X equal -11. You should have two solutions because why? I said this before. We should see two solutions because people from Zoom. Why do I need just two solutions? What's the degree? What's the higher degree? Square, right? So two solutions. Okay, so but because today is all about 9.2, so I'm gonna use the computed square. Okay, so here is your solution, but we will use completing the square method just to compare. All right, so so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 11 to the right. So x squared plus 12x subtract 11 both sides, so be equal -11. Notice that I leave a little space here because I'm going to use it later. All right, can you guess what is this little space for? So 2ab, this one. So little space is your last term, right? How do I get the last term? You take just like you did here, right? So treat the left-hand side just like the expression like you just did. So you take the middle term, which is 12x, or just 12, positive 12 times a half, which is 6. And then you square that 6, which is 36. And then you add it to here. Right, so plus 36. Now, because it's the equation, if you add 36 to the left-hand side, you should do the same thing to the right-hand side. So basically, you don't change anything. Now you don't change anything. You move the 11 to the right, and then you add 36 both sides. Okay, factor. Well, I'll be helpful and I'll read simplify the right-hand side. So it'll be 25. You gotta do the left. What is that? I asked you to factor this. So x, and then x, right? X plus 6, right there. The one that you have not squared yet. So this implies x plus 6 squared equal 25. What should I do next? What should I do next? Square root, see that? This is what from the 9.1, right? 9.1, so what, was it 9.1? No, was it 9.1? Oh, 9.1, okay. So square root, and don't forget plus and minus. So I have x plus 6 equal plus and minus 5. And in this case, you have to split it into two cases because 5 is not a irrational, it's an integer. That means you can simplify more, right? So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this imply, or even no, I'm just gonna say imply. This imply x plus 6 equal positive 5, or x plus 6 equal negative 5. Subtract 6. The first one, x equal negative 1. The second one is x equal negative 11. All right, you tell me which one you like. I prefer the factoring if I can factor, right? It's like using the bazooka to roast a pig or something, or burn down a house. I don't know what. So if you can factor, please factor. But on the exam, I will there will be problem where I ask you to use specific method. Okay, so if I ask you to use the complete in the square, I'm pretty sure you won't be able to factor that problem. Okay, so it's kind of force you to do the complete the square. I'm not gonna check the answer, it's checked. I don't feel like it. All right, why don't you guys try number 2? I want you to use complete the square. If you want, you can check your answer with factoring first, but I want you to practice doing complete the square. Yes. Don't forget your bonus check mark, Taylor. Whenever you got a right answer. Mhm. Maybe I want to show, maybe tomorrow. There's something I want to show you, but it's a little. Today I have to meet someone. Well, I have to help someone practice in their class. Final. All right, it wasn't on the. All right, I'm glad you're here. I like to see people in the classroom. All right, so all right, so do the completed square. You take the middle term, right? So -2. Make sure you take the size as well. Times a half, which is. Oh, before I do that, what should I do? I forgot. The first step, like I did here, I have to move the constant to the right. I gotta move the constant to the right. Did I give you guys the, no, I didn't give you the steps. But for solving this, you need to move the constant to the right. So add 8. Maybe I'll do slow. Add 8. So that I have y squared minus 2y equal 8. And then you take the -2. The -2 times a half, which is -1. And then you square that and make sure you put parentheses around -1, which is 1. Then you add it to the third term, so plus 1. Make sure you do the same thing to the right, right? Because the equation now, you gotta be careful. All right, so on the right-hand side is 9. On the left-hand side would be what? If you factor it, or you don't even have to factor, just write out y something and parenthesis y something. That something here will be -1 right there, right? So y minus 1 square equal 9. Yeah. Square both sides. I think the reason people got 8 and 0 and whatever you have, because you didn't take a square root, right? Corey and Alex.
Yeah, well, I didn't do the -8. I mean the +8 at
Okay.
the start. I think that's why I did it.
So y minus 1 equal plus and minus 3. So that means y minus 1 equal +3, or y minus 1 equal -3. And you saw that you had 1 both sides, y equal 4, y equal -2. So far, so good. Do you have any question before I move on? The next problem is just slightly different. Mhm. Mhm.
The like go through the last problem. For example, if you pick the 1 squared and this do the -1 squared and we don't have to factor it on the test, do we have to factor it or we can like use what you thought?
Oh, you use what you taught. I taught you. Yeah. Just write what I wrote here. Yeah. But just on the exam, I would like you to show me this step too. Don't do it in your head. You messed up, right? You can see, you can use that number, right? Yeah. Okay, so number 3 is a little bit different now. What we did before, if you notice, all your square term has a coefficient of what? 1, right? All of them has a coefficient of 1. This one is not. So what I'm going to do is I need to make that I need to make the coefficient of x squared to be 1. So what should I do? Divide everybody by 2. If you divide the first one by 2, you have to do the same for everyone. So I just think about having twins, right? You buy one set of clothes for this one, you're gonna do the same thing for the other one. So x squared minus 7x plus 6 equals 0. Sometimes when you divide something, it doesn't give you a nice number like this one, but that's okay. You still have to divide. Subtract 6. So that I have x squared minus 7x equal -6. Now you use the pattern, take that middle coefficient, which is -7, times a half, which is -7/2, and then square it, which is, I have 49/4. So add 49/4 both sides. It's okay to have fraction. Right, on the right hand side, you can use your calculator. You don't have to show me how you come up with a number. Okay, I need the common denominator, right? So I need to multiply what, 4/4 here. So instead of -24 plus 49 is 25, right? So I got 25/4. Or use your calculator, doesn't matter. The left hand side, you can use a trick. You don't have to factor on your own. The x, 2 set of parentheses, and then -7/2, -7/2. like I said, the little trick very helpful when it comes to fraction. So it's x minus 7/2 squared equal 25/4. You take square root, plus and minus. So I have x minus 7/2 equal, well, square root of 25 is 5, square root of 4 is 2. So that I have x minus 7/2 equal 5/2, or x minus 7/2 equal negative 5/2. Add 7/2 both sides. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So 2 over 2, which is 1. Is that okay if I don't show you all the work at this point? Is that okay? Well, you add 7/2. You want to solve for x, right? So you add 7/2 both sides, yeah? On the other side is gone. 7/2 plus 5/2. They have the same denominator, so all you have to do is add the top. 7 plus 5 is 12 divided by 2. Do it on the scrap. Don't do like what I do here because I don't have enough space. And it's a simple step, so I assume it's kind of. Then you can add 7 minus 5 is positive 2, right? Over 2.
I got kind of more confused about this stuff. But I'll look at that. I'll look at the recording.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah, I think you missed the first 10 minutes or so.
I couldn't,
Okay.
I didn't understand it at home, so I figured I would come
Okay,
here, so I got this question.
Mhm.
But I just review when I get the chance.
All right. Is there any question from Zoom? Your last problem. Then you
I
can
do
go
have a
on.
quick question for that last one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead,
Um,
Mike. Mhm.
So it's negative 7/2 plus negative 5/2, so that makes it negative 12 over 2.
No,
And is the
positive.
positive 12 over 2. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. My
Yeah.
bad. No, okay, thank you.
Yeah, actually, I should have put one more step.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, all right. All right, you guys do number 4. That's your last problem. Put your answer in the chat. And then we'll go over it together and then we can go home. Or you can go home. I still have to talk to somebody else's class. By the way, I have office hours after class. So feel free to stay and talk with me if you need to, okay? Oh, sorry, number 4. Yeah. Mhm. Mm. See the previous one, Kobe, so that you can follow the step. Yeah. Mhm. So you need to make the coefficient extra if you want.
I got it down to that.
Yeah.
But
And then you take the middle coefficient. Actually, I think I made this up. function only.
Okay, so negative 14/2.
Take that, negative 14. Always. Let's see. Curtis. No, was it the old one, right? Curtis. Yeah, that was the old one. So first thing, we divide both sides by 3 and then move the constant to the right hand side. All right, now that little pattern, you take the middle coefficient. I only need the coefficient, I don't need the x. So just negative 14/3 times it by half, which is 14 going to 2 was 7 times on the top. Yeah, so it'll be negative 7/3, right? And then you square it. So negative 7 squared is 49. But by the way, when you square a negative number, it's always positive. Like I said, the last one, first term, always positive. 3 squared is 9. So 49/9. You add it there. You added 2, 2. 49/9. Now on the right hand side, on the left, let's do the left hand side first. You write two set of parentheses, and then you fill in, right? And then x, and then you fill in by using the little trick, which is negative 7/3, negative 7/3. So that means I have x minus 7/3 squared. On the right hand side, you can multiply both top. This one right here, you need a common denominator to add the top, right? So you can multiply the top and bottom by 3. But on the exam, I don't need you to do all that. It's too many steps. One less thing is good. So I'm going to show you how to do in your graphing calculator. So we have negative 8/3 plus 49/9. It's kind of lagging. All right. So negative. Make sure you use the opposite key, the one all the way in the bottom, third one from the second one from the right. Don't use the minus for minus. Use the opposite key. Minus 8/3. I don't know what kind of, I'm gonna use parentheses, so 8 divided by 3, and then go outside, and then plus parentheses 49 divided by 9. Why is it frozen? And then it'll give you fraction. I don't want fraction because it's not exact. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to math. You guys see math, the fourth one down from the left, math. And then you see the first option is frac. Press enter twice. 25/9. Right? So 25/9. 24. When you multiply both like that, Kobe, 3/3, right? So it'll be negative 24/9, right? Plus 49/9. Negative 24, positive 49 is 25. Like, oh, use calculator, because I don't want you to make silly mistakes. Not worth it. And now you square root both sides. So I have x minus 7/3 equal plus and minus 5/3. X minus 7/3 equal positive 5/3, or x minus 7/3 equal minus 5/3. I'm gonna do slow here. I'm gonna add 7/3 both sides. Oh, okay. Right. So that's cancel, that's cancel. Okay, so x equal what? 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Negative 5 plus 7 is negative, is positive 2, so 2/3. Yeah? Okay, all right. Do you have any question before we adjourn?